So hi everyone. Sorry I'm on the wrong screen here. This should be your video that you're watching after spring break. If you're working on it during spring break, that's great, but don't feel like you have to. This starts April 2nd. You should be in Unit 3 now. And in Unit 3, you're going to learn to do some of the things that you probably wanted to do in the first unit in the first project. And that is place things on the page using something besides a table, add some color, change your fonts, things like that. So I'm going to kind of talk you through the first maybe one or two assignments here. So CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and that's how we do those things I just mentioned. There are three kinds: internal, inline, and external. Internal and external are what we are going to focus on in this class. Inline styles you would probably do if you were using a web editor. No one really does those anymore. They're kind of frowned on, so we're not even going to do those. And we'll start with internal. For that reason, you have a new doc type statement. So you can copy that here, put it at the top of every page going forward. And this is a transitional, and so it tells the validator what HTML you're writing. So for your first one, what I want you to do is open up your Starbuzz page that you created way back, and just after your end title, before the end head tag, I want you to type in this code. And I'll go over to Notepad++ here to show you a couple things. So I have that here. If I change my language, I don't have any language set at the moment, but if I change my language to HTML, it has the regular colors that you have been seeing. And so here's what I wanted you to type in right here. There's a style tag with an attribute of what type it is. And then we're setting some styles for the body. Important things to note, these are curly braces here, not parentheses. You also have to put a colon right here, and then at the end of each line you have to have a semicolon. Really important things to remember. This now is more like programming than anything you've done, so all those little things are going to matter. Okay, if I change my language to CSS, you'll notice now I get some interesting colors up in here. And if I come in and I delete my semicolon, you'll notice that that next line doesn't, and the line I'm on, don't look exactly like they should. So there are things. Another thing that I see a lot is people misspell background. So again, looking at it, if you've got the color set right, you can see or you got the language set right, you can see those color things come up. So again, these are all styles for the body. And when you have it done, just to show you one of my students at Green Mountain, it should look like this. Okay, so we added a margin on the right and the left. That's pushed it in. We added a color. We changed the font, I believe, to sans serif. Yes, right there. And we put some padding, and we put a border around it. So here's the border. There's the little bit of padding right there between that and the border. So basically, that's what you should be looking at on the first one. Now, you can take this and run it through the W3 School validator. If you go to this page, you can run it through the top one to validate your HTML, find your errors there. You can run it through the second one here, validate your CSS, help you find your CSS errors. If you're doing that, make sure you check CSS 2.1 because that is what we're running. Okay, so next assignments, just to get going here, background colors. You guys all want to use colors. Keep in mind, you're not the only reader of your page. I have to be able to read it in this case. And if you were working for a web development company, your clients would have to be able to read it. So the best options are light colored backgrounds with dark text. In some instances, the reverse will work, but be cautious. You know, some of these greens, the blues definitely on a black background, and even reds don't work well. You do not want to send the people reading your page into seizures, okay? So you follow this link to background properties on W3 Schools, read through the page, use the try it yourself boxes, okay? This assignment then asks you to set a background color for a page, and then put a table on the page and set a different background color for the table. So if you look here, just as an example, these things are setting backgrounds for whatever is out here. So this would set a background for an H1. This sets a background for a paragraph. Okay, you want to set a background for a table. So you would have to have table, and then the curly braces, and then background color, colon. You always have to have the pound there. And I recommend you always use the hexadecimal numbers. Okay, that should get you through the first two CSS assignments.